You're listening to the Ones Ready podcast, a team of Air Force Special Operators forged in combat with over 70 years of combined operational experience, as well as a decade of selection instructor experience. If you're tired of settling and you want to do something you truly believe in, you're in the right place. Now here's your favorite CCT personality, JTAC extraordinaire, embracer of the ridiculous face, and like the shortest operator you'll ever meet, Peaches.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ones Ready podcast. We're happy to have you in the team room with us. And as always, thank you for tuning in and listening. Hopefully you've subscribed and have left us a review. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. We'll just take it and roll with it however you see fit. So check us out on YouTube. We're on Spotify. And don't forget to check out some of our partners. So today we'll talk about Strike Force Energy. I've said it in the past. I don't think I've actually ever brought in a packet, but they come in these nifty little packets. You mix it in some water, and then that's your on-the-go go juice. I've also said it before. You can not have water and throw it right in.
That is a recommendation. That is not the preferred technique. Man, you better be ready. Yeah. I don't know what kind of life you're living where you can't just like find a cup of water or like find a drinking fountain or something to make that happen. But man, if that's how your life is, it's not terrible. Well, it is terrible, but you can get through it.
It can be done.
It can be done. It is stout.
Yeah. So if you guys do check them out, they're over at strikeforceenergy.com and use the promo code ONESREADY and you guys will get a discount. We don't get anything from it. It's just us. They're helping us out by being our partner, and then they're helping you out by giving you a discount. And of course, I use my own discount code as well. Like who doesn't? So
I have discount codes I have entire notes on my phone that are just like, oh, this is this page's discount code. Like this is Strike Force's discount code. Make sure to put in Ones Ready and you'll get, like 10% off or whatever it is. Like I have to no kidding remind myself of what they are. We put the partner link on the page, I believe. Brian, did we not?
Yeah, definitely. Go check it out over there and you can check out all the codes and all the people that we're affiliated with. If you go to onesready.com under the partner link.
If you just do a subscription too, then you just don't have to worry about putting in the code every time you're subscribed. Get it every few weeks. It's amazing.
There is that.
It just the energy fairy just shows up and bestows upon you Strike Force energy.
just sprinkles it.
You guys are going to have to go to the YouTube channel and check out exactly the visual of what that sound was. Like it was beautiful.
All right. So moving on to what we actually want to talk to you about is motivation. We get asked a lot of questions, and hey, even internally, I ask my own self what motivates me, what drives me to do certain things, and kind of this topic sparked by really the amount of questions that we were getting on, hey, what motivates you? And when you look at it on the surface, without really diving into it, it's kind of tough. You're like, well, I just do it. There's no question. I just go and I do it. But if you actually take a moment to take a step back and figure out what does in fact motivate you, I think some of it could be pretty surprising. I think a lot of people go with the really positive, positive motivation, which I'm still a proponent for positive mental attitude, PMA.
Sure. But, hey, you have to. That's on every single warning that we put out there. You better bring the PMA, dog. I don't want to see any poo-poo faces.
Exactly. But if you're someone like me, you tend to have a little bit more of a negative connotation with what you motivate yourself with. So like, for example, for me, and it's going to sound trivial maybe, but I don't mind winning. I like winning, but I hate losing even more.
Oh, you're speaking my language, dog.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I said it. Like I'm going to have to get a tattoo that says we get wins in this organization. Oh yeah.
So, and I know I'm not the only one. Aaron, you just touched on it a little bit. You want to go into yours?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, just on the winning thing, I don't know how many times I've said it, because I apply it to everything. Like, it's not okay with me, with my guys or the people that I want to see do well. It's not okay that they're not good at things like admin. Like, you can not like admin. You'd be like, this sucks, I don't want to do it. But guys that consistently cannot write EPR packages, that aren't pushing for those awards, guys that aren't like really, really good at the administrative piece, like, I don't find that to be okay. And I always say, I'm like, listen, we get wins in this organization, whether it's a silly of the quarter award or whether it's, I walk around our squadron and I'm like 5 flight, best flight in the squadron. I say that all the time. Just like I stole it from Russell Wilson. Have you ever seen Russell Wilson, the quarterback, end every single interview? Go see how he ends every single interview. He gets done. He's like, all right, go Hawks. And then he runs off. But I always thought that was funny. So just as I leave anywhere in the squadron, I'm just like, all right, 5 flight, best flight in squadron. See you guys later. But I hate feeling that lacking feeling that you're talking about, that lose. Like, listen, I love to win, just like you're saying, but man, do I hate to lose.
Yeah. And go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just think on that whole, what you were talking about there, Aaron, the most important part about whether or not you believe that you're going to be able to like do admin stuff, because I kind of felt the same way in some of the things that I was doing through PA school. When I was like first learning ropes, I was just like, man, I just do not get this at all. Like, this is just
ropes was really hard for me
over
too.
my head.
Yeah,
and it's every time I come back to this, and if it's been like a month or whatever, I'm just like, I don't even remember where we left off last time. What was that magic trick you did last time?
Yeah, how did you tie
where
that?
You did the 5-to-1? Yeah, you just flipped over the carabiner or whatever.
You just flipped it over and it was
Oh,
I hate
it was a 5-to-1 instead of a 3-to-1. But I think the big thing here is, like, when I was a kid, my dad always used to tell me, don't say that I can't do something. And it's the same kind of deal here. If you walk up and you're like, I just don't know, I can't do ropes, or I can't do EPRs, I just don't ever do them, and I can't. It's like, okay, well, maybe you don't want to right now, but you can do them. It's not like, all of Aaron's that much smart. He's obviously smarter than all the rest of us, but he's not that much smarter.
Man, that's
like, we can figure
claim.
out the things that he does and, make it our own way. People have different ways of doing it, but if you need to write down a bullet or whatever, you just figure out little tips and tricks to make it so you can remember those things and not commit to I can't. Because once you commit to anything, then it's going to be like that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, just this weekend, man, I was putting a 1206 together. I sent it out to a couple people that I know that are great, and I'm just like, hey, I sent it out to our friend BC. BC is a crow, and I've worked for him for a long time, but he is a savant with writing any of that stuff. So I literally wrote this thing up and I sent it to him, and I was like, hey man, like when I was his flight chief, he used to tell me if he could spend less than an hour. Like, the first TPR I wrote for him was trash. And he was like, get this out of here, man. He's like, I looked at this for an hour and a half last night, and then I just turned it off. He's like, you need to start over. Like, and he gave me some feedback. But he was so good at it. Like, he's always going to change stuff. So there was like a time window. So I was like, man, if I could get this to around like 40 minutes, that's when I know I wrote a good product, because he was going to change it because he was better at it. But even then I was like, okay, about 40 minutes. But I sent it to him the other night, and I was like, hey, hopefully this is about a 40-minute product, man. Can you give me some feedback? Because I want to get to that Jedi level.
Let me just also, for you guys that aren't in the military yet, EPRs and
This is terrible.
I would say we went off on a big acronym.
Yeah,
Wow.
we went off on a thing, and I want you guys to know what we're talking about instead of just thinking that we're talking about nothing. So basically, on an EPR, you have a certain amount of lines that you fit and a certain amount of space per line, and within those spaces per line, you want to fit it all the way up to the very last character that goes in that line, and you want to put as much information packed and hard hitting, whatever your troop did, as possible. And then, numbers, all that stuff, just try and make it sound like this guy is amazing and it represents all the stuff that they did. And then they go up against a board and, they see the packages and they rate, all that stuff. So just so you guys know, it's a lot. It's really difficult to get out, and it's when you first start.
Yeah. And it's military writing. All of the writing is different. From emails to the way that you compose papers to the way that you actually physically talk to people. Like, you've seen the cliche where everybody's like, Roger that, locked and loaded all the time, which is exactly how we talk all the time inside the team room. But yeah,
I think our years in the Air Force are showing like our years in service combined, because we're over here talking about writing. It's the senior airman version of ourselves would be slapping us right now.
Sad. Yeah, they're all like,
what are you nerds talking about? Shit up.
Bring it back to the not losing thing though, Peach. I want to just hit on that too. I think we're trained to do that from INDOC also, because I remember, as an instructor and when I was going through, we'd have races like go to the creek, dunk yourselves, bear crawl through or whatever, and then run back here. The first dude, everyone would always notice, and sometimes it was in a bad way because he was just like, always trying to get the glory. But, if you finish with a team, you can finish and everything was fine. If you were that last dude, then you just got harassed. It was a bad day for you.
Because they had plenty of time and they're looking to see. I'm just sitting there as an instructor and I'm like, who's it going to be?
Exactly.
Who's going to be last?
It's just all the instructors, don't be last. Don't be last. All the way down the road. So I think if you're the first, you're like, oh, good job, dude. And then the last, you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, those are the only two people that matter. Who won and who was last. Everybody else in the middle, that's just a rep. Like, you're going to run that one again.
Well, I recently, so kind of what helped, capture that in my mind was I was listening to another podcast that had Matt Frazier on it. So, 4-time CrossFit Game champion, right? And he was talking about the podium placement. So you have, first, second, and third. First place, hey, that's fantastic. That's where you want to be, right? Third place, the first and third place guys or people are extremely happy because first place, he won. Third place, hey, he ranked. He's podium.
Yeah, he made the podium.
Right? He made the podium. Yeah. The second guy is the one that is almost always pissed off that he got second. Yep. You're the first loser.
Yep.
And it's
you just start thinking about those times where it could have gone differently. I think the worst too is like, I'm not going to lie and say I've never taken a loss, especially at work, trying to get things done or trying to get to school or whatever. Like sometimes you just can't win. It doesn't make it okay. I hate those losses every single time. Every single time it still stings every single time you have to.
All right. So Aaron, we'll start with you. What kind of devious things motivate you to push through difficult workouts?
Oh, man, I am a big proponent of the pain cave. So we have Chief Cox. He's actually going to be the Special Warfare Training Group Chief now with TX. So he and TX are going to take the organization down there. So he's on his way down. But he gave a great mental armor brief talking about how to kind of prepare yourself and like exercises for things you're going to see to actually get you mentally engaged beforehand, because there's nothing essentially left of bang for. And we've talked about mental health a lot, right? So this is actually like a program where you can actually like have almost a mental fitness routine leading up to what you think is going to be a stressful event, like a deployment, right? So as he was kind of talking through the mental armor brief, he talked about dropping in, and we all do it, right? Like, Brian, if you walked into a training room and there's a mannequin and somebody just reads you off, hey, here are the vitals, here are the problems, go. Like immediately, to just click right into that. You drop into that scenario and you're mentally engaged.
Muscle memory every time. That's what we train for.
Yeah.
Boom. Walk out of my room right now, and if it happens, it happens.
Exactly. You're like, hey, I can do it. We were talking before, we started recording, but like, having something pop off basically, at any time, you need to be able to drop in to that event. And I'm a big proponent of it. So when I'm in the pain cave, when I'm just hurting, like I have levels, right? Like, cause you're under 30-minute like workout, like pain fest, or when you're really hurting kind of in that range, it's short enough to where you can be like, okay, you listen to music, you kind of vibe out, you're cool. When it goes like an hour plus for me, that's when I know I got to get like serious. Like I got to think about, usually the thing that I default to a lot in those moments is like, I'll think about friends that aren't here anymore. Or I try to think about something that emotionally attaches me to that moment, because it actually works. Like all emotion in that moment, whether it's rage or anger or, sadness for missing somebody, or, even feeling love for, like, because people will think about their family because that's why they're doing it. Like those are good in those moments. And I like the idea of dropping in and really being present and being there at the workout,
I think that's why hero wads in CrossFit are so awesome.
I love them, man.
They are suck fest.
They're terrible. 31 Heroes it crushes me every single year. I have such good memories of being down, and shout to Sandia CrossFit. What's up, Sibo and everybody down there? But being down there with them, and we would do it with the students, and we'd have huge teams, 150, 200 people that would go through. And I had great memories of those days down there. But man, it just always just flattens me. Like that one hurts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. And I think that's for me is like, you find it's funny. We're talking about this where at the very beginning you were like, no, we just turn it on. It's just time to go. Right. Well, we do that because we've done it so many times. We know exactly how to flip that switch and go, all right, now I'm at work now and I have a problem that I need to fix. And, we can turn that on a lot. So,
but I think that motivation goes into overall times and, general, not just during a workout, but, difficult times in life, difficult situations.
Yeah, so. For sure. And it's seeing wacky things that you've never heard of before. I still get surprised by, a friend will tell me a scenario that he's in, or one of my team guys will have a problem and we'll start working through it. And you're just like, holy cow, I cannot believe, I still haven't seen that. That's new every single day. So I'm glad that I have all that experience behind me where I can go, oh, okay, well, I may not have seen this thing, but I've seen things kind of like this. So I at least know how to start attacking the problem, and if not, then I reach out to my friends, which I do all the time. I'm like, hey, have you ever seen this? Do you know anything about this? Yeah.
All right, cool. So Trent, you're kind of a sick and twisted and very sarcastic dude. I mean, right?
Maybe sarcastic. I'm a nice guy. Totally normal.
I love the sick and twisted angle because all I'm thinking about is that cartoon of you, the clown from It.
You'll float.
I think it's,
we all float down here.
That's right. Log rolls cure all ills.
So what are some of the things that motivate you? Do you have negative thoughts that help drive you, or do you kind of go on the positive route?
I mean, if I'm thinking about my baseline motivation, it's pretty common reason is family. And when I say family, what I mean is as I've moved through my career, what family is and how it motivates me has changed throughout my career. So like in the beginning, right? Like I remember that first day, you get your uniform and you get your name tag and you slap it on your chest. And I have a very unusual last name. And so I felt that pressure of representing my family name as soon as I joined the Air Force. That pushed me along for a lot of things.
Yeah, because it's distinctive. People are like, there's not a whole lot of Sikh millers running around. So you're like, yeah, got it.
Yeah, they'll remember me forever as opposed to like some Smith that is like, there's 100 Smiths that come through this place every week. But, that motivated me for a long time. But then my motivation never really changed because my family evolved through my career. So like I showed up at my first duty station at Bragg as a Saudi, right? When I call people my brother, I'm not kidding. Like my family, the people that I don't want to disappoint, the people that I want to live up to their expectations, the people that I want to help, or the people that did all the work prior to me getting there to put me where I'm at. I want to make sure that I don't disappoint them. I don't squander the opportunities that they set up for me. And then that motivates me to push forward and push the envelope a little bit. And then also to push the next generation of guys a little bit harder to get a little bit further. So
yours is still kind of, rooted in fear of failure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I hate that. What was it? I think in Moneyball, Brad Pitt said it like, I hate losing more than I like winning.
That is absolute truth.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's not like I've won a whole bunch, so I've just lost a whole bunch.
I violently agree with this statement.
But it's like, I don't want to spit like, so like your parents, right? I think that the American dream is every generation moves up, right? And the same thing in like every generation of pararescue or combat control is supposed to get a little bit better. I don't want to spit in the face of the people that came before me that put all that work in, all the giants whose shoulders I'm standing on. I don't want to spit in their face by not trying my hardest and utilizing my abilities and talents to the fullest extent. Otherwise, I feel like, if I'm losing, if I'm not trying my hardest, then I'm just poking them in the eye and being like, yeah, thanks for putting me here. I'm just going to take advantage of all these opportunities that you set up for me and not try it all. That doesn't make any sense.
I saw it on the Instagrams on the Facebooks somewhere. It was it basically said, when you don't believe in yourself, that's basically attacking everybody that does, like everybody else that does believe in you. Like that's like you're doing exactly what you're saying. You're like, all those people believe in you. You're just like, nah, not good enough. So
yeah.
I like that.
Not only that, like all the work that the people that, when you're in high school, you did sports, your parents, they tried to teach you all these things. Like, like I said, my dad taught me not to say I can't, but if I, go through and I tell him, I just quit, I couldn't do it, as I'm an adult, I have to take responsibility and just look them in the eye and say, like, everything that you did for me and everything that you taught me when I was a kid was worthless because I just, spit it back in your face.
Yep.
Yeah. And I know this is not exactly tied to motivation, but since you brought up the parents thing, I know I had just seen something on Reddit, and I replied to it, and basically his dad or his mom and dad are not supportive of him becoming a PJ. He's got close to a 6-figure job, freaking college degree, and he hates his job, hates where he's at in life, and he wants more. So he's motivated, right? Because you don't get to where he's at the age of 24 without being motivated. And then to hit your parents with, this is what I want to do, and then not support you in the least, what happens if you get shot, or you could die, you could do all this, and you're comfortable, you've got a secure job, right? Man, if he doesn't take that motivation and move towards being a PJ, which is what he wanted to do, he will end up regretting it for the rest of his life, resenting his parents. And I'm not saying that his parents aren't justified, because I'm sure it comes from a place of love and care. But man, if you find yourself in that situation, you have to use that motivation that you have, because you obviously have a lot if you're going to give up what you have and go put yourself through this. Use that. And
yeah. And it's always funny how the first time in your life where you kind of really have to, you start making these hard choices, usually it is with your parents about something, where it's like you realize like your parents are just, it's always funny, you grow up to a certain age and you think your parents are just like these superhero people, and then you have that one time where you're like, wait a second, you're figuring this shit out the day by day just like I am. And you have that time where you're like, wait a second, and then like now I'm 40 now, like I am, who I saw my parents. I'm like, they had no clue. Like I watched my brother and sister-in-law with a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old and like a 6-month-old. I'm like, your life is radically different. You're juggling chainsaws all day, just trying to figure stuff out.
At straws.
Exactly. Right. So it's funny. Like you're going to have to do that a lot of times in your journey. Like you're going to come to this crossroads where you're going to like, hey, I want to try to do this thing, and I hope you're on board with me. But if you're not, you got to understand, like, I'm going to go do it because, like you said, like it might be his why. This might be his reason. This might be his calling or his universal goal or whatever it is that, you want to call it in woo-woo terms or not. Like this might be a thing that he has to go do. And it sucks that sometimes your parents aren't on board. It doesn't mean that they don't love you. You just have a difference of opinion on this one.
I think another thing that I kind of think about this, I've asked this question a lot, is what motivates me and that kind of thing. But as far as motivation is concerned, I see motivation as like, a kid in the candy store and they see a candy that they want. Like, ooh, that looks really good. I'm motivated. The motivation is there because they want that candy. But, later on in life, why do they want that candy? And that is the purpose. And I think that's what kind of long-term drives a person rather than just the motivation in general. Because we get motivation to do whatever. Like we're going to work out one day this week or something like that. But what gets you up the rest of the week is your purpose, and that drives your motivation later on. That way, you're not skipping workouts, you're not doing whatever, because you think if you're going to join the military, yeah, it's fun. You're going to put on that beret, you see the motivation on Instagram or whatever, you see all these cool pictures, and then when you get home, there's no pictures, nothing else driving you when you're at indoc or when you're at selection. There's nothing else driving you. You're not thinking about like, cool, the beret's nice or whatever. But the purpose of you doing all that and going through these struggles is for you to go and save a person's life, or go help your teammates out by dropping bombs, or go out there and, gather intel information or whatever. So I think the purpose is the overall driving factor, and motivation kind of is those short spurts of like, all right, I'm going to go do this to fulfill my purpose.
It can be a short spurt, absolutely. And I think it's a misconception that each and every one of us is automatically motivated as soon as we wake up. I mean, there are days. There are days that it is like that, okay?
Yeah.
But don't think, for the people out there, do not think that there aren't days that I wake up and I'm just going, no way how can I I am
just
not,
no way, just absolutely not.
And then you remember, this is not a decision, right? There is no choice. It's happening, Now, that doesn't mean that you don't take rest days. You just take deliberate rest days, like planned out. You know what I mean? And you still got to listen to your body. So, if you feel shin splints coming on, you don't go out and, throw 90 pound ruck on and go for 12 pounds.
I'm going to teach my body who's boss.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't work like that. So you got to listen to your body as well. I can't just say, hey, there's never a choice. You just go out there and do it, because you're just going to go out there and hurt yourself. But, if you are deliberate about your rest days, and then understand that you're going to wake up some days or in the afternoon after work when you're tired and you're not going to feel like working out, we all get it. That's my point. We all feel that. We are no different than you guys out there.
Oh yeah. And I'm in worse shape. So I hate working out in the afternoon. This is just a tangent because it was well said. I don't have anything to add on because it was perfect, but I hate working out in the afternoon. When I start pushing my workout to 2:30, 3 o'clock and I haven't worked out yet that day, I'm just the likelihood of this workout happening at all is going down minute by minute.
Quickly diminishing. Unless you have that guy that you promised you're going to work out with them.
Yeah.
Then you're like, damn, I told that guy I was going to go work out with him.
Meanwhile, my really, really good friend that's he's out now, Chris Sobel, but Chris always used to laugh because he and I would train together in the pipeline, and we'd be walking out to go do some heinous workout, and he would just look at me and be like, I don't know, man. You want to quit? I don't want to do this, but I don't want to quit. And I'm like, yep. No, Chris, come on, we're going. And then we would just go do whatever heinous workout. But he's like, it only takes one. If just one of us just doesn't want to do it, maybe we just go have dinner or something, shut up.
And that's why it's important to find accountability in some place. You've got to have accountability, whether that is somebody in person, a workout partner, a training partner, whether it's, your spouse, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is.
Was it on the IG that we answered what does it take to be a good training partner? Or was it on one of the emails? You guys remember that question coming? It was actually a really good question. I'll have to look through my DMs. Maybe somebody sent it to me, but they were like, hey, my friend wants to train for this thing. What do I need to do to be a good training partner? And I was like, oh man, that's a great question. You can't ever be the one that cancels the workout. Show up early. You're going to be sore too. Try to do the same things that they're doing and just be there. You only need to be there for that 10% where your boy is just or your girl, whoever is just I don't feel like it. I think I'm going to cancel this one. You just need to go one time. Go, nah, man, we planned this one. Let's just go knock it out. Even if we do something different or if we switch it up, fine. But let's go do that. I'm like, that's a great training partner right there.
Yeah, and another technique for the people that can't get a training partner is, not that I've done this, but I've heard people do this, is they kind of do a call to action on social media where they go, hey, I'm going out to run this half marathon, right? And
yeah, that one's not call to action worthy. I'm going to run this half mile. This 800 meters is going down, folks. Follow me on my IG live for the next 3.5 minutes.
3 million views.
So, you can set your goals out on social media in front of everybody. And once you set it out there, people will wonder, hey, when in 2 months or whatever it is, when this thing rolls around, I better be seeing results.
And the internet remains undefeated. The second, you're going to get a screen cap and it's going to be your post and you're going to have to see your own post and they're going to be like, this you? What's up? Where you at on?
The other way, the opposite way to think about it is what happens if I don't do this today? You can say that for one day. Okay, I'll feel a little bit less tired throughout the day. But at the end of the day, when you're at selection and you said, I didn't want to wake up so many different times throughout the course of your training, and then you show up, you can't do the push-ups, you can't do the underwaters, everyone else is smoking you, you have only yourself to blame. So when you wake up and you don't do the workouts or study or do whatever like you promised yourself that you were going to do, then you have only yourself to blame. And in reality, no one else is going to care about your career as much as you do. At this point in time, you're an adult, you're making your own decisions. No one's going to force you to do anything. It's going to motivate you to do whatever. If you have a friend like Aaron was talking about that shows up at the end of the day is like, well, I guess we're going to freaking do this thing. So it's awesome to have that stuff.
That's the best too. Well, looks like this is
personal
happening,
accountability
guys.
at the end of the day is what's going to make you stand out and be the person that's selected or be the person that's going to do the job the best. So,
well, Brian, shifting gears a little bit, because obviously you went through the pipeline, you were a PJ, but now you just spent the last, was it a year or 18 months?
2.5 years.
2.5, okay.
All the pipelines, 2.5 years.
Don't mean to shortchange you.
Yeah, nobody's counting or anything. Yeah.
So 2.5 years.
2 years, 9 months, and no, I'm just kidding.
To be a physician assistant. So I would not have wanted to go through some of the academic struggles that you did, but like what you talked about, days that you don't want to study, days that you don't want to train. What motivated you to study, train, and you were also running beapj.com too. So like, where did you find all that motivation? And I think time management is probably for another podcast because wow, but where did you find that whenever you don't want to study?
There were days that, like you said, I had my planned rest days. I always just focused, each night. I've read a couple books that mention the same thing. You focus on your work during the day, and then at night you focus on your passions. So it's the same deal for me. So I would work throughout the day, work in this context, going to school, which was the worst thing I could do. I would have rather went through InDoc the entire time over and over again. But it's just like our
awesome.
Personality types.
It was just the worst thing I could have done.
It was absolutely terrible for me, like in every single way. And I was hating life for a long time.
I don't know why I don't know. I've never heard you speak this strongly about it. This is hilarious to me right now. Why was it so bad, dude?
Well, because I'm not living it anymore. Like once you're done with whatever that was hellacious, you're just like, screw that stuff. I'm so glad that I'm done and I don't have to look at that. And when I'm in it, I'm like, oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine right now.
But it's all burning down around you. You are the cartoon dog.
It's that
this is fine.
Yeah, with the dog.
Everything's fine.
I just try to pretend like I can just cruise through it. Only a couple more months. Everything's fine. But in the meantime, everything's going crazy and I'm just losing my mind. But I kind of forgot what I was talking about now. But the biggest thing is you work on your passions at night and then you work on your work during the day. So I would choose those days where I would have to, focus on, we're doing a podcast that day or doing a post or doing a whatever event, because I did the events in between there too. And so a lot of that just was just that time management portion. But then thinking about the patients that I would have to treat, obviously I had to learn all this information, and that's kind of the reason why I went in the military in the first place, was because there were patients that I was not able to treat before I came in the military, and I didn't know what to do. So it's the same thing. I think that's what, drives PJs in general, is like we came in to help people and to do a certain job that we were told is going to help people. So that's it. And our life is worth risking because of that potential purpose and patients that we might be able to save later on. So those things motivated me. And then a huge thing was just, I didn't want to be a dummy and get kicked out of the PA program and go back to the career field a failure.
Oh, that'd be, will you just show up with your beret on one day? Like, hey, what are you doing? You coming through town? Like, nah.
Are you a PA now?
I'm coming back to work.
No one would give you a hard time. I think it would have been fine.
You would have been fine.
Dude, it's like failing.
Look myself in the mirror.
Yeah, failing jump master course or something like that. You just freaking. Oh, did you take the short course? Ooh.
Hate to see it, Phil.
Nope, not going to happen. So, I mean, a lot of those things motivated me throughout. And I think for those people that are out there, I also wanted to do this to test myself because, I was strong enough to go through InDoc or whatever, but was I smart enough to go through PA school with all these other people that are just brainiacs? And they would just walk around. And it was kind of like when I first got to InDoc, honestly, like they'd say, oh, you don't know what to look for, what lab to look for if a person has testicular cancer or if a person has liver cancer or
no,
whatever.
No, that's why I'm here. I'm here to learn that stuff. I didn't do it ahead of time. I wanted them to teach me it.
Yeah, they're paying me to teach me that. And anyways, I was like, man, I'm way behind, I guess, because all these people are way smarter than me and they know so much more than I do. And it's the same thing when I went to InDoc. I mentioned a couple episodes ago, people were like, yeah, I was swimming like 8,000 meters every single day and I was holding my breath for 5 minutes and I was just like, what did I get myself into? I can't do any of those things.
Yeah. It's like the narrator is like, Brian was not prepared.
Yeah, just the narrator in my head. Yeah. But I think, anybody can do things that most people can do, the things that you see everyone else, like rocket scientists, astronaut, whatever. Those are going to take a lot longer and a lot more work to do. But if I wanted to be a doctor, I feel like I could be a doctor. Or if I wanted to be whatever, then I could do that because the preparation that I got going through NDOC, going through all these difficult schools that are called, are revered, I guess. We see them as like, all right, we're just going to do another jump master course, or we're just going to do another whatever course. It's just another thing. And we set up our mind like, okay, let's get into mode. Reverse plan. End goal is this. What do I have to do to get those whatever and make this happen so I can move on with my life and keep
and then
on.
You're just like, all right, well, here we go.
Yeah, and I think
can't get out of it. Might as well get into it.
Yeah, you get a lot of distractors. People need to focus on their end goal and not worry about some of the chaff that goes by,
Well, I think what happens is the first step is seizing your personal authority over yourself, right? And there's a lot of goodness to having like a training partner or someone that motivates you or helps you or external factors. But until you hold yourself responsible for everything that does or does not happen, and I think that's what happens throughout the pipeline is it's a learning experience. So you'll see these guys go through it, and what happens is in the beginning that might be like, this isn't my fault, and then by the end of the pipeline, it's like, yeah, that was my bad. Like, we'll fix it next time. We'll do it. Moving out. Next task, let's go. And that's just where your authority in your head lies. It's not your parents' authority anymore. It's not your instructor's authority. It's not anything else. It's you signed up for it. You said you would do it. I'm going to go do it. No excuses. Just moving out.
Hey, you're taking ownership of it.
You're right.
The other thing that I think about when I'm going through difficult courses or like selection or anything is this is my time for me to be good at this. Like, I'm not going to get more time in the future. It's not going to get easier later on. Like, this is my time.
It's
right
only
now.
going to get harder. Yeah. This is the only, that's a great way to think about it. Like,
once I'm done, I'm expected to perform at a certain level, and everyone's going to expect that. So if you get done with selection, you go deploy with SEALs, they're going to expect you to perform. Like, they're going to say, hey, here's your ruck. We're going to go on whatever movement. They're just going to expect you to do it. They're not going to expect you to like, oh, let me teach you how to wear your boots. Let me teach you how to, whatever. It's like,
have you had an equipment packing class where we talk about the rucksack? All right. So this is a large frame Alice ruck.
Might want to pack extra socks.
And for those people, Brian, I just want to go back to what you were talking about. People are saying I swam 8,000 meters and I was holding my breath for 5 minutes. Like, some of those people, and they're with every single class that comes through, but a lot of those people are some of the first ones to quit. So
they might also be lying and full of it.
Exactly.
They could also be lying. They could these things may be correlated. They could be lying and quitters.
I'm sorry, Jared.
No, 100%. I agree. I'm taking them at face value, but
a lot of feelings behind those words, Trent.
Yeah.
A lot of feelings behind those words.
Okay, not to go too far off the road, but like when you ask a student, you're like, how can you not do like 45 push-ups? And their answer is, well, I've been training for the last 3 years. And you're like, okay, no, you haven't. Or whatever you call training is not training. I could do 800 push-ups before I got here. Like,
no, you have not.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I spend 2 hours in the gym every day, bro.
Yeah.
All right. What are you doing in there? Just at the water fountain, taking breaks every 10 seconds?
They got free Wi-Fi, kicking it. Got to
I was
post
going
to
to
the
say
gram.
they're on the bench or whatever, just on their phone, just
looking at that mirror.
Oh, time for a set.
Got you knock it out.
So anyway, things are not as they appear when you enter the pipeline for all those people that are saying they did all these things to help train. So, you guys got any other things motivation wise that you want to discuss before we close this up?
Yeah, I got one more thing. Last thing, it's just I kind of see motivation, like I was talking about motivation and purpose. I see it kind of in phases. So you think about your workout that you're going through. You're motivated at first or whatever. You step into the gym and then you start to get a little bit tired. I like to start to get angry. I like to listen to angry music, and it's the same thing whenever I get in a situation like we're doing bear crawls and the instructor was yelling at me, or when I would yell at them, I'd see people just get angry and they power through and they're just like, screw you, I'm going to freaking do this. that lasts for, a couple minutes or so. And then you start to get on something else because, when you're going through something like ETD, you can't just be angry the entire time. So the second thing that
Joke's on you. Yes, I can. I did it multiple times. I was mad the whole time.
It's not going to help you perform better the entire time or continue through it. The next thing was looking to your team, and whether it's, looking at your team and saying like, if this guy's still here, I can do it also, or, just motivating yourself by looking around and keeping your head up, like we said in some of the past episodes. That got me through a lot of different difficult times, just like, whether it's school and I'm like, I'm not a dummy, I'm smarter than this guy, like, let's keep on pushing through, or I'm not a little bitch, like, I can get through, this guy's getting through. Same thing. And then the last thing is always drive back to your purpose and your why you started this in the first place. And remember that moment that you committed to this whole pipeline or, series of adverse events that you put yourself through, and know that you're going to be going through this for the foreseeable future, and just enjoy it while you can. And then the last thing was, I just want to go over a quote by Viktor Frankl, is A Man's Search for Meaning. If you haven't read the book, it's on the reading list, but it's just one of my greatest fears is not to be worthy of my sufferings. So you guys are going to go through, suffer a lot. Like I said, you're going to have to perform at a certain level, and you're going to have to show that you are worthy of the things that you've been through. When you finish Jump Master course, you do it. When you're done with selection, you go out there and do the mission, and there's no question that you're going to be able to finish it. So those are the last things that I want to throw in there.
Solid. Well, Trent, you got anything else? Any parting shots after that firm wrap up from the man?
I just want a Silverback shirt that says "I'm not a dummy" on it. That's it.
I'm not. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not a dummy.
I am not a dummy, and I am not a little bee. Seems like a good place to end it, man. We want to thank everybody for coming out. We appreciate you. Hit the Instagram page, hit the Facebook page, hit the like and subscribe button on the YouTube. Come out, hit us up in the DMs if you guys have any questions. We're here for you guys. So go out, train hard, earn each breath. See you next time.
Later.